Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Since I sit on the committee, let me bring the members up to date. This is not about stopping fetal research, fetal tissue research. There's nothing to do with it. And go back and read the transcripts of our first two public hearings. But it is about whether or not Congress is going to stand by and actually enforce Title 42, which says that you can't sell fetal tissue for profit. In fact, Henry Waxman is the author of that section. And he said, quote, "It would be abhorrent to allow for the sale of fetal tissue and a market to be created for that sale," going on to say any price is unreasonable and illegal. With regards to the 12 states, none of them have investigated to the extent that we are beginning to investigate. And as members of Congress, we should be incensed at the way this congressional investigation is being treated by those for whom we seek data. For instance, here is an example of what was submitted to a congressional inquiry, to an inquiry from this committee, from one of the people who ultimately had to be subpoenaed. This is what was submitted to us. The same papers submitted to a local Freedom of Information Act is this: no redaction. So when this individual responded to Congress, this is what the sheets they responded to looked like. To a local Freedom of Information Act request, this is what they responded to. Now, if that's the way we think Congress ought to be treated, or do we think there's something that needs to be hidden? Well, in fact, let's go over, again, remembering Mr. Waxman's words. Here's an exhibit that came up, which was an invoice. Now remember, American taxpayers pay for a lot of this fetal tissue because they're done under NIH-sponsored research. This is for 4 human fetal brains, as described in invoice number 5231, for a price of $3,340. That's the bill that the researcher, frequently paid by paid under NIH funds, is paid. And the shame would be here that if we allowed fetal parts to be treated as chattel. Now, as further evidence that they're chattel, there's even a tax charge, a sales tax charge from the state of California for those fetal brains. Unbelievable. What's even more unbelievable is some companies charging over $800 to $900 for a fetal brain, for which they pay the technician who collects the fetal brain in the abortion clinic $10 an hour plus a $35 per tissue bonus structure payment. Now, this is not new math. If you charge $900, and this is only the one tissue, if you just obtain one tissue from that fetus, $900, you're paying a technician maybe $50. Costs you another $90 to ship at FedEx, because they're FedEx charges, but they're all paid for by the purchaser. It's the middleman that's making the money. The abortion clinic probably is making a small amount of money, the middleman making a huge amount of money, and this is what's come to light by the investigation. It is illegal under Title 42, Mr. Chairman. If Congress doesn't, this is blatant that Congress should be looking at this blatant violation of Title 42. We need to continue in the investigation. I oppose the amendment.